So I got to check a bucket list item off I didn't even know I had, getting snowed in the Alps with my family. Welcome to the Freedom Sprout channel. My name is Kalen Bruce. I'm the founder of Freedom Sprout, where we talk about raising intentional children, traveling, and minimalism with children. We have 5 kids of our own, and we try our best to live this stuff out. We publish a new article on Freedom Sprout every Tuesday. We publish a new video every Friday. So subscribe, and I hope you enjoy this one. So we took a trip 4 days into the Italian Alps, the Dolomites, and we were expecting it to be clear weather. We were expecting it to go well. As far as weather goes, we checked the weather before we left, and everything was clear. There was no chance of snow, wasn't supposed to be any rain, and we made it the first day, and there was no snow. It hadn't snowed yet for the season. There wasn't anything on the ground. We got in, we checked into our Airbnb, and it was a beautiful cabin. And we had a great view, an awesome view. We could see for miles. We were about 8,000 feet above sea level, and on top of a mountain in a cabin in the Italian Alps. So we woke up the second day. Beautiful weather. We could see for miles still, super clear. We went to a lake around the local area. It's about a 45-minute drive. So first we had to go eat lunch in a little town that was near us. It was a super sketchy road, probably one of the most narrow roads I've ever driven on. We have a Honda Odyssey, so it's a big vehicle. And whenever you see another car on this road, you have to pull over, but a lot of times pulling over is a cliff and then the mountain. So there wasn't really anywhere to pull over. Regardless, we made it there, made it to a local restaurant, had some great Italian food. If you don't know, the Italian food in the north is like an Austrian, German, Italian mix. So we actually had a deer stew, and then we had some ravioli and some typical Italian favorites. They have something called polenta, which is sort of like cornbread. They served us a polenta grits sort of thing first, which is like corn grits, but in polenta grits. And then we had some actual pieces of polenta on the side. It's a common dish in North Italy. So after we ate lunch, we went over to a lake. It was Lake Misurina. Yeah. It's a beautiful lake. We got some beautiful views. Kids played around the lake for a little bit. Mountains were all around us. I kept checking the weather throughout the day, and I saw that it was calling for 5 to 8 inches of snow that night. And then it would go down to 1 to 3 inches of snow, and then it went down to less than an inch. I was like, all right, we're good. And then later on, it came back to 5 to 8 inches. And by the time we went to sleep that night, we made it back to the Airbnb, it was down to less than an inch of snow is what we were supposed to receive that night. We woke up to 6 inches of snow on the ground. The road was completely covered. Mountain roads are dangerous anyways, but whenever they're completely covered in snow and ice, obviously it's worse. And honestly, I was a little nervous. I was worried that we weren't going to be able to make it back down the mountain, worried that we weren't going to be back to work on time because I had to work in a couple days. I went ahead and talked to the Airbnb host and extended another night, or possibly extended another night if we weren't able to make it home. But we made the most out of the situation, and we got the kids out there. They were playing in the snow. Waking them up was awesome. Whenever I woke them up and took them over to the window, I said, close your eyes. Each one woke up one at a time for all 5 of the kids, and they opened their eyes and see the snow, and they were amazed by it. So they got out there and they were playing in the snow a little bit, and we had a few snowball fights. Usually you go outside, lasts about 10 or 15 minutes. Everyone's hands are cold. You go back inside, and we chose to make the most out of the situation. We treated it as fun. We didn't show the kids that we were nervous about the weather. We were just like, hey, look, it snowed. This is amazing. We're in an Italian cabin in the Italian Alps. Nobody ever goes up to the cabin for a few days and is able to get snowed in. That's awesome. So we made it fun. Just like a trip we took to Breckenridge, Colorado several years ago, which is funny because it's about the same elevation as the place we were staying at this time. And we were on the way to Breckenridge, got to Denver, fuel pump went out in our van, broke down in Denver, finally made it to a Firestone there, and instead of complaining about it or making it tough on the kids and saying, we don't get to check into our resort and all that, we made it fun. We said, that's awesome. We're going to check out Denver. So we made the most out of it, making memories. I ended up meeting a guy from Nazareth that worked at the Firestone there, and we had some great conversations. He told me all about his home and growing up and his life in Israel. And then actually a few years later, I was able to go to Israel and see a lot of the places he was talking about. So it was really cool. I think it was kind of a God experience that we got to meet that guy, that we actually got to have some fun in Denver. And the next day we got our fuel pump fixed and went on to Breckenridge, and it was great. But it just reminds me of that story because we take a vacation or something we plan to do, and it doesn't go exactly like we want it, we can either complain about it, we can either be frustrated or upset, or we can make the most out of it and change it into a new experience. But the good news about our trip in Italy was that the snowplows came out, they were able to grate the roads. It took them several goes, and they go so fast there. It's amazing. But they graded the roads, and then by the time we were ready to check out, we didn't have to extend another night. We actually ended up checking out, making a slow trek down the mountain, and then 1,000, maybe a couple thousand feet below us, the snow was clear and we were able to make it home. So I guess the main lesson that we got out of this was that you can make anything fun. Of course, getting snowed in the Italian Alps, you're thinking, how could you not make that fun? That sounds awesome. And it was awesome. But again, it was stressful because we didn't know if we were going to be able to make it down. We didn't know if it was going to snow again. The forecast was calling for more snow that night. And if you think American weather forecasting is inaccurate, then you should see Italian weather forecasting. It's extremely inaccurate. But regardless, we made the trip fun. The kids had a great time. They got snowed in. They got to play in the snow for a little bit. And then we made our way back down the mountain and we went back to our house. Expect that whenever you take trips. Things aren't always going to go as planned. You can turn it around and you can make it fun, or you can complain about it. I think the kids definitely prefer when we turn it around and make it fun. So I would recommend going that route. If you like this video and you want to see more on family traveling, and we talk about minimalism, we talk about family finances, go ahead and subscribe so you can stay up to date and so you can keep up with us on this journey. Check out my new book, 10 Branches of Growth. It's basically the instruction manual written to the 18-year-old me. I wrote it for my kids, to my kids, so it's legitimate information. I break down 10 different pieces of life, 10 different branches, and how we can maximize those branches in our lives. And thanks for watching.